more and more consumers are falling into collections, default, or even wage garnishment. As of right now, the credit card and consumer debt is getting worse and worse, and people are needing credit repair. The only bad thing is that people that offer credit repair services are usually not there to truly help their clients. In this video, I'm going to show you what I would do if I was just starting credit repair for myself or whether I was working with a client in 2024 and beyond. My name is Eddie, and I want to make sure that this video goes through the A through Z process of how you can improve your credit by either getting a credit report, going through each section on how to fix it, and what you can do to continue improving your credit on a day-to-day or month-to-month basis. So this is what I do if I was starting credit repair in 2024 and how I would go from a 300 or 400 credit score to the upper 700s. So the first step in this entire process is getting a copy of our credit report. Now, this is mentally the most difficult part of the entire credit repair process, and people that I've worked with before, why? It's because you don't want to know what's on the other side. So I know that this can be very challenging for most of us, but the first thing that we need to do is we need to know what we need to fix or what is hurting or damaging our credit. Once you get the credit report, this is going to give you clarity, and honestly, it's not as bad as you think. Once you get this credit report, we're going to start working from there. You need to get your credit report from all three major credit bureaus. Now, the three major credit bureaus are going to be Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax. We need to get those credit reports from them, and the great part is that you do not need to pay. You can actually get your credit reports from a free website called annualcreditreport.com. You can do this by just going to their website, and you can only do this once a year. Now, let's say you don't want to do that, you can go directly to your bank. Now, let's say you have JP Morgan or Schools First, Navy Federal, Wells Fargo. You'll be able to get a copy of all your credit reports and just directly see what's happening or what you can report and view from there. Now, you can also use credit monitoring services. Now, this is kind of the pros and cons to this. The pros is that you'll have monthly active reporting every single time where you can see what is happening on your credit score. You can also get credit monitoring alerts. But the negative part about this is that you will have to pay for credit monitoring. So if you're just kind of dipping your feet into this process, I would say the first thing that you want to do is just go to annualcreditreport.com, get a copy of all your credit reports. Now that you have a copy of your credit report, the next thing that we need to do is figure out how we can read it. So step number 2 is review your credit reports thoroughly. Now we're going to go through each section of the credit report, and you're going to want to look for your personal information, all of your credit accounts, any hard or soft inquiries. And this is going to allow us to check for errors, inaccuracies, any signs of fraud, or look for any potential errors. You're going to also want to check for outdated information, any incorrect account details, or unauthorized hard inquiries. So let's jump into this example credit report. But one thing I do need to notify everyone here is that this is just based on my personal experience and people that I've helped. But overall, if you want to go to a professional, you can also get in touch with people that either have their finance degree or whatever it may be. But again, I'm not a financial consultant. I do just want to help people and go on the journey that I've been on. For many of you, I've been doing this for some time now on the YouTube channel. But overall, if you want to go to a professional, you can talk to a financial advisor. Now here we have a sample credit report, and this was very, very simple to look at. So this sample credit report will show you what kind of information might appear on your credit report. This is also called a consumer disclosure statement, and it's from the three major credit reporting agencies. Your real report might look a little different, but everything is essentially the same. So we're gonna see our sample credit report. It's gonna fall in with a date. It's gonna have the report number. And then at the very top, we're gonna have the consumer personal information. So this is gonna show your social security number, your date of birth. It's also gonna show your names that you've reported prior. So some people don't, show their middle name. Some people have two last names. Some people have different phone numbers. So kind of just check all of these things here. Look for your addresses as well and see if there's anything that you could potentially use and maybe improve on your credit report. Now from here, we have our employment records. So from your employment records, you want to check to make sure that you have your current employer. And again, anything that's outdated, you just want to see if you can remove that or update. From here, we have public records information. So on the right-hand side, you can see your public information is data collected from court records and is also viewed negatively upon lenders. This section includes like any bankruptcies, other public records such as civil judgments, tax liens, and anything here would show up on your public records. Now, this is not going to be helpful, obviously, when you're applying to get a car loan, mortgage, or even rent, but you do need to have that here. Then it's also going to showcase any other information from there. So again, don't forget that if you have a bankruptcy, it can stay on your credit report for about 7 to 10 years from the date of filing, depending on the type of bankruptcy that you did. We have Chapter 7 and also Chapter 10, so you can read that on your own. Down from that, we have our adverse accounts. So from here, adverse accounts show lines of credit that have not been paid, have missed payments or late payments. Or if you were sent to a collections agency, that would also show up as charged off. So here, we're going to be able to view everything. So if you have any collections accounts, if anything that looks wrong or incorrect, we want to go ahead and note down for future reference. Now from here, we have satisfactory accounts. So this is essentially kind of what it means. A section that shows your credit accounts that have either are current or been paid as agreed. Now here, this is actually good. You want to make sure that everything looks great here. Let's say you have like your car loan or you're paying off your mortgage. All of that will show here. Then you're going to have a kind of like calendar, and it's going to showcase whether you've been late or not. It's going to say like an X, or sometimes you'll see like a check mark, and it's going to say okay or like a green color when you've been making your payments on time. So if you see anything that might be incorrect, you're going to want to also note that down. So just keep looking through all of these things, such as your student loans. If you have any car loans, just double check that everything looks great. Make sure that you look at the pay status, and it's going to say current, paying as agreed, or if you already paid it off, it's going to say paid off, good standing. So just double check your balances. Everything needs to look good. Last but not least, we're going to have our credit inquiries. Now, this is one thing that I've really like to pick up on because most people will miss this, and this can negatively affect your credit score. But what I've seen a lot of the times is having too many inquiries from one lender. Now, they shouldn't be doing that. What should be happening is that they should just go based off of 1 or 2 hard inquiries. So let's say you're getting a car loan and you go to the dealership. That rep or whoever is managing that financial part of the process is going to go through a bunch of different companies to see if you can qualify for the loan, leading to 10 plus hard inquiries. Now, this is going to negatively affect your credit score, and that they should not be doing that. At the end of the day, it should only be based off of 1 or maybe 2 hard inquiries. But if it's beyond that, they're obviously just trying to get you to pay that car and get into a high interest rate loan. Now, we don't want that to happen. So you're going to go ahead and look through your hard inquiries. And if you see multiple inquiries from the same day or same lender, you're going to want to see if you can dispute those to help improve your overall credit score. I've been doing this for a long time when it comes to the inquiries, and I can tell you that they're usually in the wrong for this part. Now, if you see any soft inquiries, then feel free to leave those alone. Soft inquiries are never going to hurt your credit account, and it's usually going to be like you'll get things in the mail from companies telling you that you're approved for a credit card, or let's say you're checking your soft inquiry from your employment. That's never going to affect your credit score. Now that you know how to read your credit report and you've gone through that whole process, we're going to need to start prioritizing our dispute letters. So first things first, when it comes to disputing, is that you're going to want to start off with any inaccurate personal information, such as your name, address, or any employment. So just like we saw earlier, you're going to go through that entire document or your credit report and then note down what you need to fix, and then have that ready for your dispute letters. From there, you're going to want to look at any negative account details, or not just negative, but false or incorrect. Please make sure that in this process, you're not just disputing whatever you want to dispute because you think you can do that. You need to go and make sure that this is 100% incorrect or false information, and then you're able to either dispute, or you can see if you can negotiate or work with your creditor or collection agency. So this is going to be like late payments, incorrect balances, closed accounts reported as open. And when it comes to like late payments, there's things called like goodwill letters and different types of dispute letters. And you could either draft up something on your own, you can use AI tools, You can use credit dispute letter generators and figure out what you can send out using those things. So I'll give you some ideas and examples based off of free tools and things like that, or you can just draft up your own dispute letter. Next thing, you want to like check for collections, any charge offs, or any other negative items. Now, one thing I'd really highly recommend saying is that, and I want to be completely upfront with you, is that you can technically dispute collection accounts and negative items, but depending on the collection agency, there'll be two things that happen. Number one, they're going to go ahead and sue you, as in they're going to counter your dispute letter and they're going to go ahead and try to sue you. The second thing is that item will probably be removed, but it can actually show up back into your credit report in the next 3 to 4 days. So we need to be very, very careful with that process. Now that you have the list of things that you need to dispute, whether you say that in a paperback form or you save that in your documents or Google Sheets, whatever it is that you're using to save your notes, we're going to need to make sure that we send out the dispute letters with the credit bureaus. Now, this is really important and you cannot miss this part of the process. So first things first, you need to dispute via mail. Don't ever do this online, and whoever tells you to dispute online is just going to negatively impact you. You want to dispute via mail because you need that snail mail, you need that tracking information that everything is going through, and they go through this process called eOscar, and it goes through their system, and you need to make sure that you dispute via mail. So make sure that you do this by sending out certified mail. And yes, although it's going to cost you a little bit more, you're going to have everything tracked and you'll be able to fight this if they ever want to say that they never received the paperwork or documentation. Now, again, don't dispute online or do not call them. It's important for you to know how to write effective dispute letters. And again, I'm going to give you some examples. But first of all, when it comes to sending out your dispute letters, the first round of letters that you send to the creditors or collection agencies or even the credit bureaus, you need to make sure that you send it out with supporting documentation, and you need to send your ID and a copy of a utility bill, bank statement, or insurance statement, anything that has your mail documentation, your correspondence. You need to send that out with the first round of dispute letters. From there, you need to be aware that the credit bureaus will usually take about 30 days to investigate and respond back to your disputes. So you should expect some information within usually 30 to 45 days. If you haven't received anything within 60 days, send another form of correspondence to them. And again, since you're tracking everything using certified mail, then you can go ahead and sue, or you can go ahead and pursue any more legal action. So let's go ahead and look at a credit report dispute. So all of this, again, is going to be available in the presentation document that I'm providing, but this guide provides information and tools you can use if you believe that your credit report contains information that is either inaccurate or incomplete. This is actually provided from the consumerfinance.gov website. And of course, we have all of the information from Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. And what it's going to detail is it's going to have all of the mail correspondence or addresses to these credit bureaus here in this documentation. Again, all of it is provided by consumerfinance.gov. So you'll have TransUnion, you'll have Equifax and Experian. You can download all the dispute forms if needed, and you have all of their email or mail document. So this is what it's going to look like. You're always going to need to provide your full name, the consumer report or ID number, your date of birth, your address, your driver license number, which is actually optional, your social security number, which is optional, today's date, the company information, all of your disputed items, and any extra documentation that's going to help you support your claim. And it's going to look something like this. So you're just going to have 4 different elements. You're going to have, again, all that info from identifying information. You're going to have the company information, which is Equifax, TransUnion, or Experian. Then you're going to have a professional kind of statement. So, dear XYZ, I'm writing to request an investigation of the following information that appears on my credit report. Dispute number 1, and then provide the account number to that dispute, any of the dates associated or whatever is wrong with it, like late payments. You're going to have any extra documentation or enclosures, which is, again, supporting documents. And then you're going to be able to say just thank you, or to whom this is for, by Eddie Ballesteros, whatever it is. So you have your document there. So you want to make sure that you have something similar. One thing that I've been using lately, and this is just as a skeleton template. You can do this completely for free. You can go ahead and use Claude or ChatGPT, which is an AI tool to help you draft your dispute letters. Please don't just copy the information that it gives you. You need to edit everything correctly. And this is just as a skeleton. So I could say something like this. And again, you can use the free tools or free plans for these products. Help me draft a dispute letter, and then in quotes, I'm gonna put goodwill to lift my late payment and make it around 120 words. Then you can add in context. So I could say something like this. I have recently lost a family member. And again, guys, don't want to lie. I'm just doing this as an example. I have recently lost a family member and had to pay for $2,000 worth of cost. And I truly need this removed. So this is a very terrible example, but we'll just go ahead and keep going. And we're going to see what it does for us. Awesome. So this is a really good kind of draft email. So it's saying, Dear creditor, so this is like JP Morgan or Navy Federal. Dear Navy Federal, I am writing to request the removal of a late payment on my account, and I'm off giving them the account number and also the dates. I have been a loyal customer for 14 years and with otherwise a spotless payment history. Recently, I experienced the loss of a close family member, which led to unexpected funeral expenses of $2,000. This sudden financial burden temporarily impacted my ability to meet all my obligations on time. I have since brought my account current and I'm committed to maintaining timely payments. Thank you for your consideration. I greatly appreciate this matter. Sincerely, Eddie Ballesteros. So you can see how you can use AI tools to draft up a really solid template for your dispute letters. And from there, you can continue adding more info. And again, I'll leave this all in the presentation for you. You guys can easily just copy this or create your own. All right, so you went ahead and sent your first dispute letter, whether it was a goodwill letter or maybe a collection account letter, whatever it is. You're going to want to follow up on your disputes. So like we said earlier, there's going to be a 30 to 45-day window. You should receive some documentation in the mail about the status of your disputes. It's going to either have three different options. It's going to say item removed. It's either going to say updated or the account is verified. These are really, really important because this is going to help you with the next steps of your dispute letter. If the item is removed, then great. Make sure to keep the documentation for your records, and you're probably going to have an improved credit score after the 30-day time window for when your credit report updates. If the item is updated, review the changes carefully to ensure that they're accurate. If not, you may need to file another dispute. So this comes to when let's say you're updating your employer records, you updated your name, or let's say your social security was incorrect. You need to make sure that everything was actually updated as it should have been. Now, the last one is kind of the bad one, depending if you're trying to dispute something that's negative. It's going to say if the item is verified, just don't lose hope, but you're still going to have other options. So if the item is verified, it's going to say like, hey, the late payment is something that we cannot remove. This is completely based on, the legal agreements. So you should have known to make your payments or add a forbearance, whatever it is, your dispute letters did not work. So this is kind of more info on this, but if an item is verified and you still believe it's inaccurate, you can either do the following. Request a statement of dispute to be added to your credit report explaining your side of the story. You can provide additional documentation to support your claim, such as proof of payments or let's say the funeral costs that may have happened. This is for that previous example. Then you can consider seeking more additional help from an attorney or credit repair professional who specializes in consumer law. Now, the next thing you could do is dispute directly with the data furnisher. This would be the creditor, the lender, or even the collection agency. If the credit bureau verifies the item, you can dispute directly with the company that provided the information. Then you can also send a dispute letter to the data furnisher with all that supporting documents. Then they're going to have to investigate your claim and report back to you within 30 days if any changes have been made. Now, there's some extra things that you could do to escalate your dispute. So the first thing is you can be persistent and just don't give up with your first dispute is unsuccessful. Even if it's unsuccessful, you can try to send out another letter to ask for all more documentation or things that they can provide you with. The biggest thing here is keep detailed records of all of your correspondence and documentation related to your dispute. You're going to consider sending your dispute letters via certified mail with the return receipt requested to have proof of delivery. So this is why I tell everyone, please to make sure that you're sending all your disputes via certified mail. If you're not doing that, it's going to cost you more than just collections. It's going to cost you your time. It's going to cost you a lot of headaches. Just make sure that you track everything that you're doing. If you believe a credit bureau or data furnisher is not handling your dispute properly, you can actually file a complaint with the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau or the CFPB or your state's attorney general's office. So you have all of those things ahead of you if you want to go ahead and pursue some further legal action. So now that you're sending out dispute letters and you're getting ahead of all of these things that can help you improve your credit, you can actually go ahead and go beyond that and start implementing good credit habits. So as you're doing this, again, building those good credit habits, you can start paying your bills on time. You can start setting up auto pay for things that you were late before. You want to keep your credit utilization very low and avoid applying for new credit. One thing that I see people struggling with is they try to apply for new credit cards, or they try to apply for, those pay now, pay later type of cards. You need to be very careful with what you're doing, and you need to start implementing good credit habits. That's why I recommend having like credit monitoring services or something where you can get alerts and figure out what is improving on your credit score and what could be removed. Some of my favorite hacks that I leverage when it comes to credit building or when I'm helping people improve their credit score is you want to use things like credit building apps. You can use credit reporting tools such as rent reporting. You can also become an authorized user on someone else's card. But my favorite way is really just reporting your rent. That is like the fastest thing you can do to improve your overall credit score. You could use tools like BoomPay. You can use rent reporters. And what these tools do is that it's going to go ahead and report the past either 2 or 1 year's worth of rental history. And that's going to add that to your credit file, and it's going to look like you have a very, very good credit history. This is overall going to improve your credit score, even if it's a little boost of points. But I think that whether you can just do this, it's literally something that you're already paying for. You can use something like that to help improve and implement good credit habits, or at least showcase that on your credit file. Some other additional credit building tips as you're improving your credit is you want to get a secured credit card or credit builder loan. Some of the ones that I've personally used is like Self, which is, I think I paid like $24 a month for 1 year, and then I get the money back. I've been doing this for like 3 years already, and I just like having it because it's like a nice little bonus when you get that money put back into your account and your credit score is good. One thing I wouldn't recommend though is getting like the Self credit card. That's something that I've never done personally. I've always heard like weird things about it. I've only just used their credit building feature for Self, and then I'm also using Kickoff. So I pay like $2 a month and it reports good credit history on my accounts. One thing I'd also say for additional credit building tips is that you do not want to close any old credit accounts. You either want it to close on its own, but you don't ever want to close it on your own time. It needs to happen naturally, or just keep using that credit account and have a very low utilization rate. Just be very careful about closing your credit accounts. It's going to negatively impact your credit score. The last step here, which is step 8, is monitoring your progress. So you're going to want to regularly check your credit scores and also, again, check all of your mail correspondence. You can do this again using free tools or paid credit monitoring services. I'm also going to leave like any affiliate links and disclose that in the description below. You can use free tools, you can use paid tools, again, using your bank. They already have free credit monitoring for you. Or you can use another tool like Aura credit monitoring. Just please make sure that you're monitoring your credit, whether it is free or paid, and check any mail correspondence as you're sending out dispute letters. Okay, so that basically sums up everything you can do while you're trying to understand and do credit repair for yourself or for clients. And I think that this video is really going to help you understand the entire process. So please comment below if this actually helped you improve your credit score, or come back to me in 30 to 60 days and let me know, did this help? Did that help? This was a waste of time. Whatever it is, go ahead and comment below, and I'd love to reply to you and help you out further. Now, if you guys want to keep learning more about credit, I'll leave some videos up here that YouTube says will be the best ones for you. See you guys in the next video.